everyone. So with the end of summer comes the end of the summer celebration of Busch Gardens. They recently got rid of the summer celebration and replaced it with Beer Fest. As you can see behind me, the dates for Beer Fest, it started August 14th and it will end on September 5th, so it's not around for very long. We're going to take you around today and show you the various beers that they have available for you to purchase. They also have some beer-infused foods, so you have a variety of foods and drinks to try. We're going to try several of the beers and a couple of the foods and let you know what we think, and also let you know if we feel like it's worth it for you to come by and give it a try. The first indication that Beer Fest is going on is this Beer Fest barrel, which Jen is modeling. Adorned atop of it is the Oktoberfest flag. So it just shows that this is going to be a mainly German-themed festival and event. Just past that barrel undercover is a little bar outside here with Beer Fest items. You come around the side, you have a Beer Fest pretzel warmer, and up above here you can see there are 8 beers available, and also you can see the pretzel bites on the menu are $8. There's also a sandbar margarita for $14, along with your assorted Coke and Dasani products. So from this first stand of beers, we got Jen got the Munchin' on Pumpkin beer, and I got a Unleashed Boysenberry Ghost. To be honest, I'm not sure what a boysenberry tastes like, so I'll have to try it and see if it tastes good. So I was trying to expand my beer horizons beyond what I usually drink, because I'm typically an IPA kind of person, so I tried this Ghost. It was the first time I've ever tried a Ghost style beer. It was a little bit sweeter than I was expecting. I guess I should have expected that because it's boysenberry flavor, which obviously is fruit juice. It was okay for what it was. Jen, on the other hand, really enjoyed her pumpkin beer. She said that there was a lot of pumpkin spice in it, which is always good to have in a pumpkin beer. So at least one of us enjoyed our beers. Crossing the bridge from Italy into Oktoberfest, appropriately enough, they have a big Beer Fest ad over top of the archway that you cross under. Across from Verbolten is, even though the sign says Iceland's Freeze, the official sign over here says Island Freeze. Here they also have more Beer Fest items. Frozen cocktails for $14 a piece, peach Bellini, a frosé, strawberry daiquiri, frozen triple jam cider, and a Bahama Mama. They have 3 different varieties of craft beer, and again your standard Coke and Dasani items. If you plan on drinking multiple beers or multiple cocktails, they do offer a Beer Fest sampler for $40. You can get 10 6-ounce sample size brews or 7-ounce sample cocktails, and you can get the Beer Fest sampler at any one of these stores: Oktoberfest, Brauhaus, a few others. That's worth the money because, as you can see, a full-size drink costs about $14 or so. So a sample size at about $4 a pop isn't too terrible. So here's a look at the Beer Fest sampler. You get 10 tastings for the $40. It comes on a lanyard with a punch card. So you can see they'll punch the bottom of it each time you order a sample of beer, either a 6-ounce beer or a 7-ounce cocktail. In addition to the food and drinks, they also offer live entertainment. Here in Germany, there's a stage behind me I'll show you in just a second. Today's performance is Kevin Mack and the Homies, having 4 different showtimes today. The stage is right here, directly in front of the Fest House. A fun little tidbit outside of the Fest House, there's a 2-sided board with facts about pretzels. Look at Philadelphia, consuming over 12 pounds each of pretzels. Around the back side, information about beer steins. Traditional beer steins are made of stone and later metal. Right next to the maypole across from the fest house is the craft bar, offering several different types of beer. Lagers, IPAs, a couple of different types of pumpkin beers. And then on this side, Hopsecutioner, a hard cider, and a lager. The beer is flowing freely in the Oktoberfest section of the park, not surprisingly. Right past the one craft beer stand, there's another one. This one has a bratwurst burger, a giant pretzel bacon salt, beer mustard and cheese sauce. Beside the former site of Cursed Dark Castle is an even bigger beer area. This one has a sign out in the front with some little information about beer itself. And then back around the other side, interesting information about schnapps. Since they were developed in Germany, it's appropriate that they would have a sign here. But then past that sign, the actual stand, they have a bunch of different beers here. Bar 1, 4 beers. Bar 2, 4 different beers. And then Bar 3. So on the right, I got a Tradition Brewing Company Persnickety Witch, and on the left, Jen got a Devil's Backbone O-Fest. The Persnickety Witch doesn't really say what style of beer it is, so I'm not 100% sure what kind it is, so we'll find out. O-Fest, we're assuming, is an Oktoberfest. Jen confirmed that her beer is an Oktoberfest style beer, and she said it was very flavorful. She really enjoyed it. Looking at mine, you can tell that I actually enjoyed mine. It turned out it was kind of pumpkin spicy, which I really believed was not my style of beer at all, but you can tell how I felt about it. Look at my cup. That was actually a really good beer. It wasn't overly sweet. The spice had a nice little kick to it, which really made it a flavorful beer that I enjoyed. I'm really shocked by this. Entering the fest house, right before you reach the tables, there's a rack of Bierfest merchandise. You have Bierfest logo t-shirt, Bierfest logo baseball cap, as well as this goofy looking Oktoberfest cap. The Oktoberfest cap doesn't actually say Bierfest on it, but it has the Oktoberfest flag. And down here, a set of Oktoberfest glasses, beer goggles if you will. As you can see, Jen showing this hat. Looks like a mug of beer. It even has a handle on the side. Okay, let's give you some prices for some of these items. Let's see, the beer hat is $19.99. The baseball cap is $29.99. The beer goggles are... Okay, well, the glasses don't have a price on them, but we can tell you that the floppy hat is $19.99 and the normal baseball cap is $29.99 for Bierfest. And last but not least, the Bierfest shirt is $34.99, which is pretty normal for an amusement park shirt. Right across from the Bierfest merchandise cart is a bar for Bierfest. This bar is always here, but right now they have special beers for Bierfest. They normally have 3 craft beers here for the festival. Unfortunately, the Bull Island Brewing Company beer is not available at the moment, but there's also Golden Road Brewing and an apple cider beer, or apple cider drink. Considering there's a craft beer room in the fest house, it should come as no surprise that there is more involving Bierfest here. There is a sign that talks about firkins, small casks for alcohol, and then around the back side of the sign, there's information about Oktoberfest itself. Let me zoom out so you can get a look at the entire sign. Another fun feature going on for Beer Fest are brewmaster talks, where, like it sounds, there's going to be somebody in here talking about beer, the brewing process, answering questions. They're doing it in 2 locations. They're doing it here in the Brew House, and they're also doing it over in Ireland. So they have 3 showings a day, well, 3 presentations a day, and they show the times and dates on the sign right outside of the Brew House. Here's a look at 2 screens worth of beers that they have available in the Brew House that you can get right now. The screens, these beers, most of them, the ones that don't say new, are beers that are here year-round, which is part of why I question them saying that they have 100+ beers available for Beer Fest. While that's technically true, most of these are beers that you can always get and aren't exclusively part of Beer Fest, so I feel like they're inflating their numbers just a little bit. Here's a look at the beer-infused snacks inside of the Brew House. They have the Brew House pretzel and the German meatballs served with caper. These are regular menu items, but they include them in the Beer Fest beer-infused items list, so I'm including them in this video. Going from Oktoberfest into Germany proper, in the shadow of Alpengeist, is this other large Beer Fest bar. This one also has 3 separate areas with 4 beers each. Bar 1 has a stout, a golden ale, a gose, and a juicy rye. Here's a look at bar 2. And here's a look at bar 3. This one actually has an Oktoberfest beer available. So we got 2 beers from here also. This time Jen was the one who got a gose. The one on the right is called Ghost Trippin'. The one on the left is a Beach Drive Golden Ale. That's the one that I'll be trying. So no fruity flavors to this gose, and it's just a standard gose, and Jen just felt like it was a standard beer. Nothing special about it. I kind of feel the same way about mine. It's not too bitter, not too sweet. It's right middle of the road. It's okay. I prefer stuff that's more bitter, but I could drink this. I'd drink it again if I had it to drink. Outside of Grogan's Pub is another informational sign. This one talking about German beer. And around the back side, ways to order beer around the world. They have Scottish, Irish, French, German, and Italian ways to say 1 beer, please. Inside of Grogan's, they also mention the brewery talks. They also have special beers here. 2, 3, and 4 are the times for Grogan's. Also, I believe the beers that are inside of Grogan's are counted as part of the Beer Fest beer lineup, even though they're on the menu at all times. In addition to the typical list of beers that are in Grogan's that they normally have, they also, for Beer Fest, offer Irish nachos and a pub pretzel. $8.99 for the Irish nachos and $10.29 for the pub pretzel. So these are 2 offerings from Grogan's. This one is the Wasserhound Doggy Paddle IPA, and behind it is the Tradition Brewing Company amber beer known as Red Willie is the name of this one. These 2 are the 6-ounce sample pours. The glasses themselves look awfully small for 6 ounces. You can see my hand for reference, and my hand is about the size of this cup, so it seems like it's a lot less than 6 ounces, but that's alright. So both of our beers were a little bit drier than expected. I don't know why I was surprised that mine was a bit dry, because most IPAs were pretty dry, but yeah, both beers were dry, but we still enjoyed both of them. Either one we would get again. I only had the IPA and Jen only had the amber, so we didn't trade off, but Jen would have hers again and I would have mine again. Back behind the Lorikeet Glen, there's a building that looks almost like a castle. And inside here, this is the place you really want to come if you want to try some Beer Fest food. This location has spicy lager infused wings, beer bang shrimp, and cheddar ale nachos. All three of the dishes on the menu are $8 a piece, and we're planning on trying 2 of them. The path behind the Lower Keat Glen Aviary, you come to your building where you actually get your beer for Beer Fest. This particular location has 7 different beers: Oktoberfest Lager, Blackberry Wheat, Blackberry Juniper, a Craft Lager, a Wit, a Hard Iced Tea, and a Ghost. And there's also a Lemon Shandy for $13.99 that's exclusive to this location, or at least as far as I've seen so far, it's exclusive to this location. So from the food section of the beer garden, we got the nachos and the chicken wings, sriracha chicken wings. The nachos themselves look pretty standard. Looks like sour cream on top, some nacho cheese, jalapenos. Hopefully that cheese is very beery because they seem pretty basic. The chicken wings, they come with the buttermilk ranch. They have sesame seeds on top, which is interesting. Unfortunately, for the $8, you only get 3 wings, which seems a bit of a ripoff, but hopefully the flavor of them makes up for it. From the beer portion of the beer garden, we got, on the left is a Pina Colada Ghost, and on the right is an Oktoberfest Lager. We haven't entirely decided who's going to drink which beer. Both of them are kind of sweet, so we'll each try one and we'll let you know how it is. So I ended up having 2 wings. Jen only ate 1 because she got the bigger one. She actually liked her wing. I just thought it was kind of average. I didn't really get a whole lot of beer flavor in that, or sriracha flavor. As you can see, there is still a ton of ranch dressing. I used probably more than I should have on my wings, and that kind of masks the flavor a little bit, but they give you so much. They give you way more than you need. If they would give you more than just 3 wings, that might be a perfect amount, but it's really a pity that they only give you 3 wings. On the other hand, the nachos, I like them a lot. The beer flavor and the cheese really comes through strongly. We both enjoyed them, except I do have a correction. That is not sour cream on top. That is a cilantro lime crema. I didn't even notice the cilantro myself because I don't really have a strong opinion about cilantro, but Jen hates it, so she was a little upset and could taste it immediately. As far as the beers go, we ended up both having a little bit of each one. The Oktoberfest beer is pretty standard. Neither of us really had anything particularly strong to say about it. And the Pina Colada, on the other hand, we both really enjoyed. Contrary to the Ghost that I had earlier, the boysenberry Ghost, this Pina Colada flavor really comes through strongly, and it tasted great. The problem is it is so hot out here that both of these beers warmed up very quickly, so we probably didn't get the full flavor or as good of an opinion of the beers as we would have if we had drank them immediately. So for our last beers of the day, we went back to the craft beer area that's directly outside of the Fest House. Jen got the beer on the left, which is a Voodoo Atomic Pumpkin beer. It's supposed to be a very spicy pumpkin beer. And I got the Munich Dunkle Lager. Looks to be a pretty standard lager, so I'll give it a try, see how it tastes. So in the end, Jen said her beer feels kind of like a heavier beer. It might have something to do with the fact that we've had multiple other beers prior to this, but it was a sweeter beer and a spicier beer, which is how it was advertised, so it's good that all that came across. My beer was also surprisingly spicy. I was not expecting it to be as spicy as it was, and it was sweet too, which I actually surprisingly liked it. It's unusual for me to enjoy a sweeter beer, but there have been a couple of sweeter beers today that I enjoyed. I think it was actually worth us coming back here and saving this spot for last, because these are probably 2 of the better beers that we've had today. So that's it for Beer Fest. That's the things that are on the menu, both the beers and the food. Even though we only tried a small sample of the items, what we purchased was actually pretty good overall. There were a couple of beers that were a little iffy, but it wasn't because they were bad beers, it's just because it wasn't really our taste. We tried to, with 12 beers between us available, we tried to branch out a little bit, try things that we wouldn't normally drink, so because of that, we ended up not liking as many as we would have if we had stuck with our normal styles. The food ended up being pretty good, even though it wasn't something that we tried a lot of. They didn't really have the variety of food that I was hoping for, but it is Beer Fest and not Food Fest, so it's not too surprising. The one thing I do want to stress, though, it's very important, even though it was $40 to get a pass for 10 items, they hide a 5% surcharge in the fine print, so really that $40 item ended up being $42, and that's true not only for the 10 item pass, but for any Beer Fest item, any food item, anything edible that you buy, there's going to be a 5% surcharge in there, which we agree, most people agree, is really sneaky and not the right thing to do. And a lot of people are angry at Busch Gardens for doing it, myself included. I wanted to make that clear. If you're buying anything at Beer Fest or any food in general at Busch Gardens, be prepared to pay an extra 5% for no reason, just so that they can make the prices look a little bit lower. But if you enjoyed the video, we would still appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. And also, please be sure, yes, like that. And also, please be sure to check out our Instagram page, which is appearing down in the corner right now. We appreciate you watching, and we hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching, but the fun's not over yet. Click the box in front of my face for another fun video, or click my tree to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss another video.